news comes first. This is ABC-7 Extra.
Welcome to ABC-7 Extra Sunday edition. Good evening, everyone. I'm Mark Ross. Imagine someone who isn't a fan of baseball becoming one of minor league baseball's most successful owners and general managers. Tonight, we're celebrating the 50th anniversary of the El Paso Diablos baseball team and the man who headed it up for years, Jim Paul. Now, for those of you who are too young or weren't in El Paso at the time, let's take you back to the 1980s for a moment to give you a sense of what the Diablos were all about. Certainly there was a ball game going on, but there was so much more. Former ABC-7 photojournalist Eddie Romero put together this story when the team called Dudley Field home, or as the fans called it, the Dudley Dome. And Jim Paul joins me now. Jim, thank you so much for coming on. I've been looking forward to doing this show for weeks. First of all, there is a lot of backstory to how you became involved with minor league baseball. Let's go back to 1972, first of all, when the Los Angeles Dodgers pulled their AA team out of El Paso, saying the city would not support minor league baseball. But we'll fast forward now to 1974, when you paid $1,000 to become sole owner as well as general manager, and you also had to assume a $52,000 debt. Now, for someone who wasn't a baseball fan, why did you decide to get involved in the team?
Well, it was going to be fun, and I conceptually understood that I couldn't control anything about what goes on in the field. The talent was there from the California Angels. That was the contract. So we had no hand in saying anything about trade this guy or get him out of here, whatever. So I figured out I could control everything else. And then I used to take my little brother when I was in college to see out the Sun Kings. And that was the most boring thing I've ever sat through. And as we used to say, the most important person at the Sun Kings was the groundskeeper, they'd say, because he kept the grounds just perfect in the field and great. No. Because his job was at the end of the ninth inning is go wake people up and say, the game's over, you can go home. So I think conceptually got to me going, I don't want to do that. What's going to make me come out and participate and want to be here? And so that's what we started with, the idea is that this was going to have to be, we controlled everything but the players. And so, and having born and raised here, made a big difference because you knew how to work the culture a little bit and give the people what they wanted. And that's what we did. We came up with thousands of ideas.
You sure did. Lots of promotions. How did you come up with the promotional nights, the giveaways, and all those different things?
Well, I took my brother out, my little brother Bill, out to see the cow milking contest. That was the only reason I went. And when that was over with, it was just like, well, Bill, I'm going to order a beer and you can have a hot dog and let me know when it's over. So that and the Dodgers, when they left a huge big board, like you see the one in Sports Illustrated, with 70 dates on there. And so I just would fill them in. I go, well, and put promotion. Well, they thought 5, 6 promotions was a big deal. And I thought 68, maybe that's going to do it. So we tried it that way. We didn't have much money. We didn't have hardly any money. And of course I had Strelson behind the mic, and that helped a lot that first year to get people involved in the game itself.
And we've got a picture of one of the most amazing promotions that you did. This was out at Cohen Stadium. with the umbrellas. That was amazing. And of course, now here we see the mouth himself, Paul Strelzin. How did he become a part of the Diablos family?
Well, he was doing the PA for UTEP basketball and the track meets and football. And I knew him through there because I had been working in the sports information office as a student. And then when I got back from Vietnam, I inherited him. And so we got to be good friends. And I said, well, come on. And he was intent on going. And so I'd just sit right behind him and we would come up with some ideas. And the ideas that we incorporated, that he was able to, nobody on this earth could do what he could do in front of a microphone. And sometimes he did things he wasn't supposed to, and I'd hit him at the back of the head. But, you know, the Dudley Dome, you know, FOD.
The green Winnie flag and FOD full of Diablos and an official Diablo rally.
And the greatest one of all times, who scores more runs with 2 outs than anybody in the history of baseball. Some old guy came up and said he's been looking at that stuff for over a month and he couldn't find that. I go, that's because we made it up.
Yeah.
But the people loved it, and that's what.
And I guess one of the things that I remember most from games at the Dudley Dome, you were handed a Kleenex when you walked in. And the first time that happened, I had no idea what that was for. But as it turns out, it was a little goodbye for the opposing pitcher when he was pulled. Explain how that came together.
Well, I was looking for something that, besides chanting and cheering, which Strelz was great at. We want to hit and all so forth. But I needed something that, if we got the hit and we loaded the bases and we scored runs, there was something else that the fans could actually do besides cheer. So I got up 2:30 one morning in my house and went and looked at all the albums I had, looking for something would pertain to the pitcher being knocked out, going to the bench. And I found this Janis Joplin album, which I don't remember ever purchasing, but I looked down on, and there's this one song, Bye Bye Baby. So we recorded that. And then I told Strelz, what we'll do is we'll get these Kleenexes, and we bought the Kleenexes, and we started giving them to people because it would give them something to do. I chanted, I cheered, we scored the run, and this guy's going, and we're going to wave Bye Bye Baby, and they loved it. And then, of course, Strelzin, upon that, after the guy left, then we would say adios.
Yeah.
They loved to do that, and then we would welcome the incoming pitcher with We Will Rock You.
You've said to me that people come to a Diablos game, but they're really there for the experience. And you shared a story with me about, you spoke to a lady after a Civic Club meeting about her experience at a Diablos game.
Yep. Yeah, I was speaking to the Rotary Club when they were big, you know, in the 60s and 70s, I mean the 70s and 80s and 90s, big. And so I did my usual spiel and so forth, and everybody's excited, and then they could ask questions. And this lady stood up and said, I don't want to ask a question, I just want to tell you something. Last year I took my grandchildren out, 3 grandchildren, to Cohen, and we had a great time, and one of them got to be in the bat race, and we picked up souvenirs, and the hot dogs were great, and then the firework display was wonderful. And I go, oh yeah, were we playing Midland? She goes, I'm not sure. I said, do you remember if we won or lost the game? She goes, I have no idea, I just know we had a great time. And I go, that's what it was about.
That's what it's all about. Now, a highlight of any Diablos game, whether it was at the Dudley Dome or at Cohen Stadium, the cheerleaders, who were also known as the Diablo Diamond Girls, we got an email from Sylvia Brierton, her maiden name, Sylvia Guerra. She was a Diablos cheerleader back in 1980. Here she is with the San Diego Chicken, and she shared some pictures with us. What was it like having cheerleaders at a baseball game?
Well, they were mostly dancers. They would help with the rally stuff, but mostly they were dancing. They were there for the entertainment, and the kids loved them, so they were signing autographs all the time, and they helped with different things we did on the field. But primarily they were dancers, and we had Kathy Franco teach them how to dance the 4 different times they danced on the dugout, twice on our side and twice on the enemy side. What was that, the opposition?
Yeah,
dugout?
that's what it was,
enemy,
the enemy. That's right.
Yes. But they were great, and they got just better and better. And it was not only could they dance and they were attractive, but they all had great personalities, and they dealt with the kids. It was wonderful.
Well, we have much more of our conversation about the El Paso Diablos coming up, and as we go to break, we ask ABC-7 viewers to share their memories of going to Diablo games. Sylvia Brierton was one of them. Here are some others. You're watching ABC-7 Extra Sunday.